very embarrassing. Hi there. It's Tom Bloom again, and I'm back. Oh my gosh, 2 days in a row. And I just kind of wanted to hop on again and prove that I am capable of staying on track and smelling a small amount of fragrances efficiently. So I'm here today. It is Hanukkah. Did you know it is Hanukkah? Happy Hanukkah. Uh, we have in the Yule collection a series of perfume oils. We typically have some Hanukkah themed perfumes. This is an expression of our perfumer Elizabeth's, well, more on this later, I guess, but her own heritage. I'm thinking, of course, of the Ube Sufganiyot, which we'll get to soon, which is a combination of her Filipino and Ashkenazi heritage. And I know one that people were very curious about a sniff of. And basically what I have here today are 3 of the Sufganiyot fragrances, and then I have the Gelt. So I am just as goy as it gets. So I'm not Jewish, but I love food and I love perfume. And generally, I love holidays, and I kind of love other cultures' holidays more than I love mine because the pressure is completely nil. So I thought while Galen's still out of town, I would hop on and smell just these 4 perfumes, and we'll just smell them, see what they smell like, and then I'll hop off and go back to doing the rest of my job. Oh my gosh, it looks like some folks have already joined us for live. Hello, hello. This is I've got a lighting setup today that was very improvised because I have no time, and it's quite bright in the face area in a way that I feel Galen would not permit because he's worried about being blown out. And as someone who's like 10 years older than Galen, I'm like, please blow me all the way out. I want to be like 2 little blinking eyes in a magnificent sunbeam and nothing else. So I guess I'll just go through these 4. After we've done so many marathon live sniffs of upwards of like 7 to 14 fragrances, having 4 seems almost like nothing. And if I'm not careful, I will turn it into a whole big drawn out ordeal. So I'm just going to begin alphabetically with the earliest one in the set that we have, which is the Black Cherry Sufganiyot. And if you are not aware, if you're even less Jewish than I am, you might not know that a Sufganiyot is basically just a jelly donut. And you can put whatever in it. And over the years, we've done a great job of creating some very lifelike Sufganiyot perfumes that smell like something that you would actually be able to buy. And then we've also done some pretty fantastical oddball Sufganiyot, like, didn't we do a Dorian one? The picture of Dorian Sufganiyot. So, which you probably would not want to eat a jelly donut that was made from a haunted painting. Or, do you? Because that's what this season is all about. There's a holiday for everyone, and also a no holiday for the people who do not wish to have a holiday. So, the Black Cherry Sufganiyot, the description says, sugar dusted and overflowing with Luxardo maraschino cherries and a hint of blackberry. So, we know with cherry scents that the cherry is often really dominant coming straight out of the bottle, which for some is a feature, not a bug. And for others, it is simply a known thing to outlast. If you are interested in a more tame cherry note, even in some of the more tame cherry themed perfumes, often the cherry aspect of it is so prominent at the beginning that it's hard for people. You cherry freaks, though, you've got something here. This reminds me just immediately of the Doom Cake fragrance that we did for Dr. Caligari, which is it's a lemon cherry cake situation. And I say that not so much in the lemony part of it, but just in the richness of the bake. It really has that the golden baked, or I mean, is the Sufganiyot fried? I believe it's probably fried, but that's why it's golden, baby. I love that I'm getting, like, the blackberry really, I think, is just there to deepen the cherry and kind of give it some hidden murky depths so that it's not just one straight cherry note. Uh, it's just beautiful. I'm hearing a siren in the distance. Kind of distracted me for a second. There's well, I can't wait one day to live somewhere where we have a little more of a secure screening and taping setting, because there's something about like going around and eliminating all noises and distractions and whatever that is just like, and then you get in front of the camera and then you've got the dog and the sirens and someone knocks at the door, and I don't know how we managed to do it ever. So I'm gonna get a little of the black cherry Sufganiyot on the skin. Oh, it's really great. I mean, I would 100% eat this. I thought about going out to find some to have in the video, but then again, Galen's not here to help me eat them, and it would just be me with a pile of donuts. Wow. I think it was really clever to go dark with the cherry, but then also there's something about like the maraschino cherry that's just got that like really beautiful, almost in it like otherworldly glow. So you've got dimensions of cherry. I mean, this really smells to me like being in a bakery. I guess it would just be horrible if it didn't, right? Like, what's the point? I In constraining our choice of smells today, I knew it would probably go by pretty quickly, because it's like the things, just like we said yesterday, the things smell like the food they're supposed to smell like. So I guess I'm just a person who gets to smell them and then say, yes, that smells like the food. They're not super mysterious. But I have to say, I really love the sort of synesthesia challenge here. Like, for some reason, I can smell the taste of like the whole or mostly whole cherries that end up in the jelly mixture. There's something about it where you know how it tastes different when it has pieces of the whole fruit in it, even if the fruit has been warped beyond recognition by the jellification process. How amazing is that? So I guess the blackberry is helpful too in helping it, like, there's like something standing out from the different like gradations of the fruit experience here. Really just like a really beautiful, rich, fruity scent. And then on the skin, the baked aspect of it, I forget which one it was that I tried on, and it was like so donutty that I couldn't really believe it. Maybe it was the snake oil. Didn't There was a snake oil Sufganiyot at one point, and it was so donutty. And with this, I get mainly the fruit, and then just kind of that, like, you know, when you open the door of the bakery and there's the waft, that's what I get in terms of pastry. So I will compare that now, see how fast we're cooking along. I haven't even been talking for 10 minutes and I'm on my second fragrance. It's like new year, new me, you know? So we're gonna move on to pumpkin spice Sufganiyot. So there is a description, I bet. I'll just bet there is. It seems, again, relatively self-explanatory, but for sticklers and completionists, I'm more than happy to give voice to a description. It says, because it's almost Hanukkah and we still haven't taken down our Halloween decorations. Sorry, neighbors. She's not sorry. So, yeah, little to no additional insight. What this reminds me of is that I too am not over Halloween. I feel like I had to rush pell-mell into Yule because we were preparing Yule fragrances, like basically the moment after we released the Halloween ones. And this reminds me that I have some unfinished business to attend to in terms of the pumpkining and the spicing of things. I'm hoping to do some of that next weekend when I'm in Minneapolis visiting. I'm gonna find something pumpkin-y if it kills me. This is so beautiful. You would think by now, after all of the pumpkin stuff that we sniffed for Halloween, that I would be over it and that it would seem fully redundant. There's something so gorgeous about this. It has a really definite pumpkin pie filling kind of scent. And then it has a jolt of spice so that it's just not all clammy gourd flesh, clammy whipped sugary gourd flesh. It is fully jolted with spices. And then it has just like a beautiful, rich golden pastry encasing. It is so unbelievably comforting. It is unmistakably like the scent. There's like something that is like if you smell this in someone's house, it's because they're baking. It is an extremely foodie, bakey fragrance. And that's just in the bottle. I haven't even tried her on yet. So, how's it going? You making it through today? I took a bunch of photographs of the pomegranate milk because I found some beautifully dried, destroyed, rotted pomegranates that I think the squirrels had eaten hanging from a nearby tree. And I made Galen go with me after dark to go basically like scale a fence and pull them down. And then I did a little photo shoot here of the pomegranate milk, which I'll be posting soon. And when you see the photos, you will immediately understand what an ordeal it was to produce them and what a nightmare the cleanup process was like. I'm glad I gave this a second to calm down before diving in. So I really smelled rich pumpkin in the bottle, which is nice. On the bottle, or sorry, on the skin, it really is more true to the name, which is that I'm definitely getting more of the spice and the bake and less of the pumpkin. Like it's in there, but it's more spice forward. Like this is, when people want a spunkin, when people want a spunkin pastry, I don't think they are usually counting on getting it this spicy. I would prefer it. I want to be just slapped in the face by all the spices. But it has like a really strong, I can't off the top of my head, like, you know, the list, the melange of the spunkin. Is it like nutmeg? Is it cardamom? Is it ginger? Is it clove? Is it cinnamon? Is it all of these together? Is that the spunkin? Just beautiful, golden. It's just got, it's damn spicy is what it is. This is lovely. I mean, pumpkin spice everything plus donut. That's it. Someone's like, hey, I caught a live. And I'm like, you know what? You caught half of a live because this is a shorty. Because I'm purely just covering 3 Sufganiyot and a gelt. Sounds like a card hand. Maybe at the end I'll pad. Maybe if people are watching, I'll pad, and then I'll be able to see the numbers dwindle, and I'll be like, time to wrap it up. So the pumpkin spice, yes, in conclusion, it's pumpkin spice everything with beautiful donutty heaven glow. Smelling them side by side is just crazy. Like, I cannot believe that I don't get to eat something at the end of this. I actually should have gotten the damn donuts because I feel like disco when people are talking about, you know, in the house, like making dinner plans and we're talking about what to do for dinner and he knows that one word and he knows it in context of him getting dinner. And so everyone talking about the dinner that doesn't include him has got to be maddening. His poor little face and his little button eyes. Okay, well, I'm gonna move on to the ube Sufganiyot. And again, in the actual, on the website, in the description, I don't believe there's really anything additional. It says, a little nod to my Filipino Ashkenazi heritage. Uh, some of you out there might not know what ube is, and it is a purple yam. And I learned this by moving, not just to move, live close to Beth, but we live in a really Filipino neighborhood, like Filipino markets, Filipino cuisine, and then that has kind of drifted into the whole local, like even businesses that aren't Filipino are doing stuff like the coffee shop I go to pretty much always has a ube brownie and an ube cookie. It is just kind of, I like that it's having, and I've seen this other places too, so it's not just like an Eagle Rock thing, but it's having, ube is having a moment. This beautiful, stalwart purple yam is finally stepping into. I mean, everyone knows how yam is like extremely versatile in terms of baking. You can do anything with a yam. It's just one of the old foods that everyone has been eating for forever to stay alive. And if you make it purple, well, then that's like a party. So the ube Sufganiyot, I haven't seen one personally around, but I would love to. Oh God, since I've lived here, I've had so much ube ice cream. If you can ube it, it's there. So I think that we did something ube in the Halloween series this year too. Oh wow. Like, how is it purple? This is what's funny, because it's a purple yam, and I guess it's kind of like, how can you tell from a smell that the yam is purple? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. We've got this beautiful, so that wonderful like donut base, whatever it is that is the consistent thing across these three scents. I feel like it's maybe more present here because the spice was so dominant in the pumpkin spice, and the cherry was so dominant in the black cherry. And ube is just like, it's a humble it's a humble ingredient. It's not a big stomp you in the face, charge out of the gate style scent note. The subtlety of the ube and the starchiness of it and the kind of like, how would I describe it? It reminds me a little bit of some of the lab's rice notes. That's why I said starchy. And it gives it a kind of it's almost textural, so it's got a bit of a softness and a chewiness. It just imparts information that is less exciting, and instead it's just very mellow and comforting and kitcheny. And then you have that combined with the donut scent, and that it's just a whole different character. It's like in Mortal Kombat where you do a palette swap from blue to pink, and then suddenly the difference between Katana and Melina is so striking character-wise, even though for all intents and purposes they're essentially artistically the same in most of the animations. And then you have the green one who is Jade, and who is she? What does she want? Like, it's a whole different thing. Just like changing one small thing really gives the imagination something to latch on to. So, and in this instance, we have changed more than just the color palette, because there are literal ingredients in this bottle which will go on the skin and do something. So I haven't skin tested this one yet. I've just admired it in the bottle a few times. Oh my gosh, it is so yummy. I mean, that is a purple ass yam. I love it. If it was just the yam, I think I would say this is interesting, but does not necessarily warrant like a fragrance experience. Like, I do not need to go about smelling purely of yam. And there's something about the Sufganiyot aspect that is like both celebratory in spirit and decadent in flavor that turns this into kind of a party yam. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it's purple. I don't know why it smells purple. It's like I'm melting down over this. Words have failed me. I'm confounded by... if I didn't know that the yam was purple, would I have said that? These are the questions that haunt me as a habitual scent describer, because I don't get to blind sniff test myself. By the time I'm smelling something, I know what it is. I guess maybe sometime Galen and I should do some, like, I should spring some stuff on him. But I do this at home all the time. I will try something on, and he'll say, "What is that?" And I'll say, "Guess," which is his least favorite game. He wants to know what it is so he can, like, try to figure it out and track the scent. And I will be like, "No, describe it. What are you smelling?" And when I try to pull that nonsense, he will just give up and starve me of attention, like he's training a dog, where it's like, no, 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 you're not doing this to me. So I tend to, I like the game of smelling something without knowing what it is, and then seeing if I can pick out specific fragrance notes. That's fun for me. Galen finds that maddening. And to be fair, part of what makes it maddening is that it is often impossible, because sometimes, like, I can't tell you how many times I have smelled a fragrance and not particularly appreciated it, not really understood what I was smelling, and not liked it. And then I read the description, and then everything about what I'm smelling changes. There's some cerebral aspect of this where the actual input in the forms of language just like overwrites whatever you're getting from a purely sensory level. You know, some things are easy. Every now and then it's like, oh, well, that's rose, that's jasmine, whatever. Easy enough to pick out. But it's amazing how often I'm also wrong because of how shifty. There was one the other day that I was smelling that I would have sworn you could have put the thumb screws on me, and I would have told you I was smelling jasmine, but it was actually lilac, and it was just because of the way it was combining with the other notes. And I was wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. So maybe sometime, what I'm hearing from myself is that it would be best maybe for Galen to quiz me and see if I can pick out scent notes, and that he would not necessarily appreciate in being player 2 in this endeavor. He would be the host of this little game show. And maybe then I would be able to say, that is a purple ass yam. There is something so kind of lovely, like it's like tamped down about this one. It's like wearing a little closer to the skin. Again, the humility of the ube, whereas the pumpkin spice is flashy in comparison. The spices want to be seen and noticed. They're like, you know, it's like very pick me. The ube just abides, and it sings its quiet little song to all who lean close enough to listen. It's pleasant. It is earthy. Now that it's settling on the skin, it is an earthy little donut. And that is nice because it's a more peaceful experience, and I can imagine just settling in and sitting down and watching something and like smelling of yam and being very content. Being yam-like in my contentedness. Whereas cherry is voracious. Cherry wants to be noticed. Cherry is just like brazen, you know, as a scent note. It announces itself, and it's like, hey, I'm cherry. You're never going to get that from a yam. The yam knows who and what it is, and doesn't require human attention or approval. Cherries have never gotten over themselves. But to be fair, if you were a cherry, wouldn't you be a little excited about it? If you were reincarnated as a cherry, you'd probably be like, this is awesome. I'm an awesome fruit. So that's enough Sufganiyot absurdity. I have sniffed the 3 Sufganiyot of the Yule collection, which feels like I should get some unlocked badge in the corner of the screen. I have done the 3, and then that leaves me with one straggler for Hanukkah, which is Gelt. Who doesn't know about Gelt? You know Gelt. I was gonna make a joke about Jewish Gelt because, but like, you know, because I'm a hack. That's why. So Gelt is the little candy coins. That's it. It's the little money coins, the chocolatey foil wrapped coins that I saw occasionally in stores growing up, and I don't even know, like, truth on God, like whatever God happens to be present currently, did not meet a human being. I knew of the Jewish, but I did not meet a Jewish person whom I knew was Jewish until I attempted to go to community college. And then I met like a wider range of people than were in my hometown. And there were Jews among them. And I was like, oh, there you are. Man, I've been hearing about you. It was just so funny. I hadn't really. This is why it's so important to get out in the world a bit, because you read stuff in a book, they make you read, Diary of Anne Frank, et cetera, et cetera. You're like, yeah, I get it. This doesn't really apply to me, but it's important for historical context, et cetera, et cetera. It's a small world after all, I get it. And then, of course, many of my wonderful formative experiences having left my hometown were among Jewish people, or after I moved to New York, I had a lot of very Jewish experiences. I got to go to my first Passover Seder, like all of these things that had been purely conceptual to me as a young, like, Cracker Barrel, Arizona teenager who, thought I was smart because I read books. So, wow, see, I wrecked it. I did tangent after all, but it's about the Gelt. The great thing about Gelt is that everyone understands it innately. It is because it is chocolate and because it is money, and almost everyone likes both of those things. Some people don't really like chocolate. Do they make other flavors of Gelt for non-chocolate lovers? Whither is our, I'm gonna call it, maybe for next time, is we need to do our ruby chocolate Gelt. Something, I don't know. Anyway, we've been doing Gelt at the lab for many years. I do not know offhand how many Gelts we have Gelted. Perhaps someone will have that information handy. But I have here, beautiful gold label, Gelt 2024, and the description is simple. It says, a bounty of chocolate coins, dry cocoa and golden amber. Those are 2 very likable scent notes. Someone is commenting right now, I love it when I actually catch the comments, to say that the scent uncannily captures the actual store-bought little Gelt coin chocolate products. I am so fascinated by metallic fragrances to the extent, I'm not saying this one is super metallic, but it does have, we did a foil-wrapped chocolate Easter bunny some years back, and I smelled it so often. I didn't want to wear it all the time, but I could not stop smelling it because it is so tangible in how much it smells like the object is right in front of you. And this is very similar to that fragrance. Oh, it is so goddamn relaxing. After, we've done spicy chocolates and coffee chocolates, and there's lots of stuff in Yule, lots of deliciousness. This is so mellow. There's something really beautifully constrained about it. I think it's because the way that the chocolate, like the extremely, milk chocolate note is so edible. It's like extremely edible in certain blends. Mixing it with the amber and like whatever is giving it the gold quality, the golden amber, it just gives a hint of that external encasing that is enough to remind you of a specific candy and not just like a blob of chocolate. Oh, I can't stop smelling it. I shouldn't have done this hungry. I'm gonna put on a fancy perfumes and then make a frozen pizza. Actually, it's almost time for Disco's walk, so I'm going to put on a bunch of fancy perfumes and then go on a long walk and then make a frozen pizza. Wow. Okay. I have learned a lot about amber since I first smelled this fragrance. Early on, when I started working for the lab, and I had just like a kind of a very working personal familiarity with certain scent notes under certain conditions. And what's really cool about what I think I have in common with people who are customers and fans of the lab's perfumes and perfumes in general is that I have been learning just like right along the whole way. I knew enough about stuff to get the job that I had, but I didn't, over time, I've really had to, it's been very exciting to deepen my knowledge. And amber has been one of those scent notes that has, like maybe early on, I just didn't really care about it or notice it in things. And then over time, I realized that it featured prominently in a number of my favorite scents. And then I kind of started following it. And just, it's like unlocking one pleasure after another. So I don't think I could have properly appreciated Gelt back in 2014 or whenever I might have first smelled it. Maybe an earlier one even. There is something sort of bright and hard and shiny in the background of this fragrance that really does seem like a coin is there. And what I think that is nice about it is it really does give this a more like adult chocolate scent. Again, instead of just like candy bomb. We have plenty of that already. Chocolate is such a more versatile scent note than I think a lot of people realize, and that is also why I think there are many surprises for people who I liked when testing different chocolates with people at the booth when we're vending and such, because it can go in so many different ways where it's like, here is like a woody chocolate, here is an incensey chocolate, here is like a pure gourmand, you know. There is something, I want to say, if I didn't know better, I would almost say like a neroli, touching like but it might just be like the particular amber that Beth has chosen for this. It's again just enough to kind of give it a little like a weird shiny gleam. I'm gonna be wearing this one around. I think I'm gonna slather in this and go on my disco walk and just kind of sit with it. It is it's definitely more complicated than I remember in the past. I think it's in the past I've kind of just glossed over it a little. It like on my skin now, you might have seen I put on quite a lot of it. It's not even like super chocolatey. It's just morphed into something kind of like altogether something else. I can smell the chocolate, but I mean, what's funny about the Gelt, the candy, is how little chocolate there is in each one. You know, it's just like a thin wafer of chocolate, and then the foil that surrounds them is actually pretty heavy because it makes it feel solid like a coin. It's not some like like really thin foil peel. You have to kind of pick at it and pry it open. So the coin aspect of it is pretty dominant. Oh, it's just so fascinating. Well, that's my Gelt adventure for now. Um, I am invited to a Hanukkah party this evening, which I am saying publicly in front of people who, it probably doesn't include the person whose party it is, who I don't imagine will be watching. I'm going to attempt to rally and go to this Hanukkah party. It's hard for me to, when I have the house to myself, actually leave it because Galen is such a homebody, and when he's here, and so when he's not here, I have the house to myself, and that's beautiful. So I will keep you posted. I got a lot of really lovely comments yesterday about the lavender kitchen stuff. I felt self-conscious about just talking so much about personal things, and then like afterward I just went back and forth about it, like, you shouldn't do that, it's not professional, this isn't all about you, people want to know about the perfumes and they don't need to know about all of your stuff. And then at the same time, we don't have a really strongly professional YouTube presence for the lab. This is kind of just like a fun side project. It's great that it accomplishes anything, and it's wonderful that people appreciate it, but like, we really have room to be humans here. And then, as I posted on Blue Sky earlier, when I was looking at the comments on that video yesterday, YouTube provides auto-generated, thoughtful responses to comments. So if you, based on like the AI reads the comment and then generates like a response to it that sounds real. And I was so horrified by this because we have, it's like all the tools that we use for getting the word out about stuff at the lab. It's like Photoshop, MailChimp, film editing software, Instagram, TikTok, all of it, literally everything. You open up to do anything and there's like some AI feature there that's like, you want to try it? You want to try it? And I know that some people struggle with different aspects of like the online or tech experience, especially business owners and content creators. And there might be, it might feel like this is going to help people who otherwise would struggle, and it might help them feel like, you know, they're putting it on a more professional face. But when it comes down to like responding to comments, and like, we all know our phones do that when it's just like, you know, you get a text message from someone and it prompts you and you can just say like, on my way or whatever. I find that kind of chilling and I don't use that feature. But to go into like details from something that someone commented and to generate a human sounding response to it was so weird, because what I had done, whether it was professional or impressive or tolerable, was at least very human. And the people who responded to that and were very sweetly encouraging in their comments, it was like prompting me to give like like to disappear behind a screen and just you know, give them a artificial comment that would be indistinguishable mainly like from a real response. And I just thought that was so absurd, because actually replying to a comment shouldn't take that long. Like, why do you need it? We could talk about AI all day. It's a huge disaster. All of the tech industries are trying to make it so normal and seem so inevitable that it seems harder to dismantle or remove than it really is. And that's just because so much cost has been sunk into creating it and maintaining it and training the programs and all of the water and power that have gone into, like, you know, I mean, there are so many people in the world who don't have water and power, and we're just like giving it to a machine. And for what? So that I don't have to like respond to comments, or so that we can have a really obviously fake image to share. The charm of bad photography, the charm of bad art, the charm of bad writing. I really am grateful to Beth and our team, because they have really allowed me to lean into the homespun quality of things. We do try to create legitimately impressive imagery and media to adequately advertise our wares. When things aren't perfect, I love not worrying about it too much, because I know that people will see it and know that people made it. The inhumanity of a lot of fragrance advertising in general is really fascinating to me. There's like a lot of minimalism. There's a lot of like, because often these are based on fantasies. It's like an aesthetic fantasy, but still, and keeping it as simple as possible. I love that we get to make a mess. Galen and I get to like push all the furniture out of the living room and like put down a drop cloth and make a big goopy mess, um, just to see what happens. Sometimes it's horrible. So I don't know. It's just been like it's very strange to me that uh, all of these tools that we have are meant to make connections with humans. It's like connect with your customers. But it's like if everyone at this point everyone expects to get a robot anyway half the time. And then what's sad is when they do encounter a human, they may not realize it and they'll treat them poorly, or they will just know they're a human and they'll treat them poorly because they don't think any of these interactions like actually matter. So I'm ranting, um, but I had already done my job. So this all this to say that we're not perfect and we're not good at YouTube. And um, when you watch the live sniffs, it's me and maybe Galen or whoever, and we're actually doing the thing, smelling the perfumes made by real people, bottled by people, shipped by people, and that we are trying our best to maintain a presence. So it's like if you write a comment, you're writing it to a person. It's not like a marketing division. It's not an automatic reply. So if you want to hurt our feelings, congratulations, you're going to be able to hurt our feelings. You're going to be able, if you, I see this as, and there are times when that's really hard. But overall, it's exciting to me because when I started this job, that was not exactly such a rare thing. When you think about like in 2015, 2016, the indie online landscape and the optimism of small businesses online using the tools that were being made for us to use, um, it just, it seemed to make a lot of sense. And now watching like the AI stuff like proliferate everywhere and knowing that the temptation to use them is probably really strong in a lot of instances, or that people don't know any better or don't believe personally that they can do better. That's really wild. So, wow, I started with Hanukkah and I ended up railing against AI. Leave us a comment and we'll respond to it, as people. Wait, I need one more. That was very cleansing. So, follow up from yesterday's video about my challenges having a family holiday at home is that my wonderful, sweet, adorable 8-year-old nephew now also is sick, but it certainly can't be grandma-in-law's fault because we all know she's not really contagious. And did I get this out? Oh, I have it right here. I dug this out yesterday and I meant to show it off and I didn't get around to because I'd already soaked up so much time. But the first night that I was in town there visiting my family, I was reading a book to my nephew at bedtime, Wayside Stories from Wayside School. Sideways Stories. Sideways, Wayside. Spunkin. Anyway, he had this little, like, Polaroid style camera, and because he has ADHD, he was listening to me read the story while also taking photos of me reading the story, and the photos were ridiculous. But he took this one photo and it was on the stack, and I was like, oh, that's actually like a really cute photo of just a picture of me reading. And I was like, I want that one. He took a big stack of them. Of course, he was very reluctant to give up any of his hoard of photos, but I was like, no, I want that photo. And he's like, okay. And I didn't really think about it again, but then on Christmas morning, he was passing out presents to everyone. And he was much more excited about giving out all of the preposterous presents that he picked out for everyone before he even opened anything himself. He gave me this little tiny wrapping paper sleeve that I thought was going to be some kind of gift card, and I opened it up, and he had actually gift wrapped this photo for me, making it probably the best gift that I received the whole day. It was very sweet. So I don't know. I wanted it because there's something about kids taking pictures where you just kind of get to see things through their eyes. And sometimes they're very haphazard, but then every now and then they take like a really, just like a solidly good, well-composed photo. And it's like, oh my gosh, you did the thing. He did the thing. It's very sweet. And he gave it to me. So I love him so much. And he, he gave me, I won't even go into it. Just so many weird things. He gave everyone a lot of candy. He didn't give me candy, which is for the best. It's Christmas, we have tons. So now we've maxed out 45 minutes here for a perfume video, but safely, anyone who needed to know about the perfumes got what they needed, and we're all able to move on. So have yourself a merry little Hanukkah. And Galen gets back Saturday. That's tomorrow. Thank God. And will be able to save me from some of my excesses in terms of broadcasting. So we will resume probably Monday. I want to get to the Grove of Pomegranates. And oh my gosh, we have this huge stash of An Evening with the Spirits. That's a large collection. That's usually in the past when we've done these videos, it's been a 2-video thing because there's a pile of them. And each of them has so many interesting details related to the Victorian spiritualism background. So we have so much to cover before I go out of town later next week. How much can we do? Think about how much I could have done today if I had just kept sniffing perfumes instead of talking profusely about virtually nothing. But with that, Disco awaits in his tiny bedchamber, and we shall go take a walk, and I shall smell of celebrational yam. I shall. Is it a tuber? Is that right? Is a yam a tuber? Much to think about. I will have the gelt on one arm and the yam on the other, and I will be the middle pillar that unites them both. So have a wonderful weekend. Do something festive, even if it's just like having a hot chocolate in your jammies like I hope to be doing by 7:30. Bye, everyone.